Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam amma ba'd. Habitifillah, knowing that we all make mistakes is very important and that we all commit sins. And the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam said, Kulu ibn Adam khata wa khayran khata'ina tawabun, that all the children of Adam makes mistakes or commit sins, and the best of those who sin are those who repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the tawabun, or tawabin. And so this hadith clarifies for us that we all make mistakes. And we have to understand that people tafawut, people have different levels. And we talked about this prior, that, depending on a person's level of taqwa in general, some of the mistakes and sins that they may fall into is not like the one who has much less taqwa. That a person, for example, a person who hardly prays, smokes weed sometimes, is different than the one who doesn't pray and smokes weed all the time, and commits zina, which is also different from the one who is maybe in the middle, that they do their wajib, they do their obligatory deeds, but they commit sins, lighter sins. Maybe they backbite. This is a major sin, but they keep away from other aspects, other sins. Okay. Then there are those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has favored to be on another level. For example, the pious ones amongst the ulama, the rabbaniyun, that they stay away from the major sins, but however, they have minor sins. So, Kulu ibn Adam khata wa khayran khata'ina tawabun, all the children of Adam commit sins, and the best of those who sin are those who repent. And I wanted to mention this because a lot of times what we see is one of the problems we suffer for is people don't know how to deal with mistakes. That, for example, what we find, especially amongst some of our brothers and sisters from Ahl Sunnah, they absolutely don't understand how to deal with mistakes. And some of them almost believe that ulama or certain ulama never make mistakes, that when they make a judgment, that it is almost like wahi. And I promise you, I'm not making this up. I've experienced it at least over 15 to 20 years of my life. I've seen it firsthand, and I've been in gatherings. I've seen people and the statements some people say, and it is tragic because of blind following. And Ahl Sunnah follows the qaida that the Salaf used to say, La yuraf al-haq bi-rijal, walakin yuraf al-rijal bil-haq, or kama qil, that we don't know the truth by men, but rather we know men by the truth. So we judge individuals according to the scale of the truth, not that we say Sheikh so-and-so said this, it's the haq, khalas. Oh, what did Sheikh so-and-so said? That's it. That's the final statement. No, but the evidence says this. The Book of Allah says this. Sunnah of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says this. No. But however, again, we're ordered to follow the truth. So when it comes to dealing with mistakes, ahabatifillah, one of the things that we have to realize is sometimes you'll find mistakes from du'at and scholars and students of knowledge. And depending on their level of knowledge, you'll see, and their tarbiyah, you'll often find that depending on their status, you'll find more mistakes, obviously, with one who is a da'i but has not really done much studying or hasn't sat with ulama or and sat up and really studied under ulama. And likewise, then those who maybe have sat with ulama, that they have tarbiyah, a different type of tarbiyah, they may be less prone to making those same mistakes. And then on up and so on and so forth, the scholars and their different levels, that you'll find that in accordance with a person's level of knowledge and with their intent and their level of following their desires, will have a strong relationship or correlation with how the mistakes that they make. So if we realize that everyone makes mistakes, we need to know how to deal with those mistakes. So what happens when we have a talib al-ilm and he makes a mistake? He makes a statement which is a mistake in minhaj, or a mistake even in aqidah, or any of the various mistakes, or just a mistake that it may not necessarily be a mistake in Aqidah or in methodology, but yet it's a strange statement which is unbefitting, or they could have articulated something in a better way. What we need to know that when we hear those, when we're in those various situations, that in general you deal with Ahl Sunnah in a way in which you maintain their honor, but you don't accept their mistake. So whoever makes a mistake, whether it's Sheikh Alama so-and-so, or it's a Da'i so-and-so, or what have you, that is calling to the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we don't accept their mistakes. It's not permissible for you to follow them in something which is a mistake, especially you having knowledge that it is a mistake. You can't do that. That's haram. So you're ordered to follow the truth. So that means the mistake is refuted, but that individual's honor is maintained, and as the integrity of that individual is maintained. And for better way in which that's articulated, go back to Sharh Sunnah by Imam Barbahari, and he mentions this this point about the one who is on the Sunnah and makes a mistake on the path, and then the one from Ahl Bid'ah basically who makes a mistake on the path, and how you differ. And you'll find in the explanation, especially Sheikh Ubaid Ajabri, he has a very nice explanation, and he's mentioned this in many of his lectures about this point. And Imam Fawzan also in his explanation, and many of the mashayikh and ulama that have explained this important book in Aqidah, who explain this and talk about this in detail, as well as our Sheikh Ibrahim Raheli deals intricate detail about these types of masail in his book Mawqif Ahl Sunnah min Ahl Bid'ah wal Ahwa, his book which is the position of Ahl Sunnah regarding the people of desires and innovation. And so he details this and has dealt with these issues in depth. And so it's very important for us to understand that there's you must distinguish between someone whose usul, who their foundation is from Ahl Sunnah, meaning they've studied with the ulama of the Sunnah, they've graduated, or they've studied in the places of the Sunnah, they take from the scholars of the Sunnah, they speak with the Sunnah on their tongue and in their actions to the best of their ability, and that is known from them. But they make a mistake, and sometimes the mistake may seem even big, or at least the people make it out to be big. And we can think of many contemporary examples, and I'm not going to go into them now, but I'm trying to give you the tools so that you can distinguish these things, and you can see through when people are trying to deceive you and make you follow the path of the Hizbiyun, to just where you write off everyone who doesn't agree with you, or you see that they make a mistake, or you believe that they make a mistake. And that's a difference. There's a difference between someone making a mistake, and there's a difference between your perception of someone making a mistake. Meaning someone could be correct in what they say, but you may not have the knowledge to understand what they're saying, or you may misinterpret, or you may misread, or you may have heard otherwise. But actually what they're saying could be true and could be correct. And that's why it's very serious for the lay persons, especially those people who haven't done any talib al-ilm. And I'm not talking about, and including in that lay persons, I'm talking about even beginning students of knowledge. And if you've been studying Islam, even with scholars for 2 years or something like this, still you should consider yourself as a beginning student of knowledge. You shouldn't get in those affairs and be so quick to rush and post on the internet, taken away from du'at and taken away from this. Even a particular individual, and I'm not going to name him, who is a da'i in the West, and I'm amazed at how many ulama that this individual has actually refuted. And I'm going to name some of the ulama that he's spoken about, like Sheikh Ubaid Ajabri, and another great Alam, Sheikh Falah Ismail. This individual who's a student of knowledge, I know some of the people very intimately that he studied under, that he learned Arabic from, some of his teachers that are close friends of mine. And I'm just amazed at that someone would raise their head up. And this is one of the things Sheikh Suleiman al-Rahili told me before I went to Yemen the last time to go study in Dar al-Hadith in Shehr and Hadramaut. And I asked him, I said, Sheikh, what do you advise me? I'm going to leave Medina and I want to go. And the reason I'm leaving Medina because I want to go, I don't want to be a worker. I want to just go and seek knowledge. And I can't do that here in Saudi Arabia. You know, I have a family and the expenses and I can't stay here legally just as a talib. So he advised me, and one of the things he mentioned, he said, be careful of those individuals because we have some people there who are students of knowledge who raise up their head and their level to such an extent and they speak ill of the ulama, mountains of knowledge. So it's like an ant that is shouting at these elephants, you know, or shouting at the mountain of knowledge. So this is what we have to be very, very careful of. I may disagree with certain aqwal of some of our ulama and even believe it's a mistake. But I will rely upon our ulama to deal with those things. Or I will not openly articulate it because it's not my place. My place is not to say Sheikh Muhammad bin Hadi said this, Sheikh Ubaid said this, Sheikh Rabi made a mistake here, or I don't. Yeah, I may say that I disagree. That's fine. But to belittle those ulama, those mountains of knowledge, this is unbefitting for the student, and it's a horrible tarbiyah that the people have begun, and it's based on their hawa. It's based on their desires. And it's a shameful thing. And I don't care if you sat in for Damaj 10 years or whatever, and you're going to speak about these mountains of knowledge like nothing. This is a shameful characteristic, and shameful that someone would raise their head up. And we hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala humbles them and brings them back in accordance with the minhaj of the Salaf as-Salih in respecting the scholars. So the point being, ahabatu fillah, the second point I want to mention is that then there are those people whose usul is not Salafi. Their usul is not from Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, and they make mistakes. Those individuals, you do not have to necessarily maintain their respect. For example, when you hear me speak about certain individuals, which I don't speak about individuals very often, but there are a few names that I drop that are people whose their usul, their foundation is not from Ahl Sunnah. Their foundation is not from the minhaj of the Salaf. That's what I mean by Ahl Sunnah. Yes, they're not Shia, but their usul is more in accordance with either Ikhwan Muslimin and modernism and new ideologies that they have absorbed and somewhat incorporated in their methodology in delivering the message of Islam. So, with that being said, a person like this, we don't necessarily retain their status and respect, meaning that it doesn't mean we can lie about them. It does not mean we can curse them and talk about their physical characteristics or whatever the case may be, but rather we don't say, oh, so-and-so just made a mistake. No, because his usul, he's aslan a Sufi. He's aslan, Ikhwani. He's aslan, from a Deobandi in his methodology or his madhab. So we don't maintain and go out of our way to maintain their honor and respect, but rather we treat them as believers who and as a da'i who's calling to bid'ah, then there's certain ahkam that we treat them with. The point is, ahabati fillah, is that we have to begin to learn to know how to deal with the mistakes that happen from individuals and not rush to take people off the sunnah who are known for the sunnah, and not rush to defend the people of bid'ah who are making continual mistakes and have mistakes in aqeedah and mistakes in minhaj, big major mistakes, but yet we're going to be soft and all-encompassing and put our arm around them and defend them. This is also a great danger that we have to be aware of, and we ask Allah the Almighty to accept our good and forgive our evil. Anything I said that was correct was from Allah Azza wa Jal. Anything I said that was incorrect was from myself and the shaitan. Wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad.